Have you ever asked yourself why love, something so beautiful, so full of promise, can also bring the deepest kind of pain? Why the people we care for most can become our greatest teachers, not through comfort, but through challenge? If you've ever felt heartbreak, confusion, or the quiet loneliness that follows an argument, then stay with me. Because in this video, we'll walk through love the way Marcus Aurelius might have, with calm reflection, with courage, and with the kind of strength that doesn't harden your heart but refines it. And before we dive in, make sure you subscribe and like this video, not for me, but for yourself. Because what we're about to explore could genuinely change the way you love, the way you forgive, and the way you stand tall through every storm in your relationships. Stay till the end. Every moment connects. This could reshape your love life forever. Part 1. The Emperor's Question. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, but he also ruled his own mind. Imagine him, alone in a dimly lit room after a long day of war, councils and endless petitions. The empire stretched thousands of miles, but that night his thoughts stretched inward. He wrote in his journal, Meditations, not for an audience, but for his own soul. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and I know that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. Now imagine that same reflection, but applied to modern love. What if Marcus lived today, scrolling through messages, navigating misunderstandings, reading between the lines of a partner's silence? He'd probably remind himself, the person I love is human, as flawed, as hopeful, as lost at times as I am. My role isn't to fix them, but to remain steady amidst the tide. Part 2. Love as the arena of virtue. To Marcus, life was an arena for virtue. Not a theater for pleasure or comfort, but a place to practice patience, wisdom, temperance, and justice. And what greater test of virtue exists than love? Love exposes us. When things go well, it fills us with warmth and joy. But when things fracture, it shows us who we truly are beneath the surface. Do we lash out? Do we retreat? Do we blame? Or do we pause and ask, what lesson is being offered here? Marcus would have said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In relationships, what stands in the way, miscommunication, jealousy, disappointment, isn't just an obstacle. It's the very training ground of love. When your partner misunderstands you, that's your chance to practice patience. When they pull away, it's your opportunity to practice compassion, not neediness. When you feel unseen, it's a call to see yourself clearly and without judgment.
This is the Stoic way of love, not cold, not detached but disciplined in feeling. To love deeply without becoming a slave to emotion. To care fiercely without demanding control. Part 3. The modern mirror. Now let's bring it home. You wake up, check your phone, no message. Your chest tightens, your mind races. Did I do something wrong? Are they losing interest? Hours pass, still nothing. Marcus would smile gently at that storm inside you. He would remind you, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Your partner's silence is not your suffering. Your thoughts about their silence are. You can't control whether they text you, but you can control how you meet that moment. So take a breath. Feel the anxiety rising and let it pass. Then respond not from panic, but from peace. That's real strength. In a world that thrives on reaction, instant replies, emotional outbursts, social media confessionals, Stoicism asks us to pause, to observe before we speak, to understand before we assume, and to remember that every relationship is a dialogue between two imperfect souls learning how to grow. Part 4, the story of the stone. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who carried a small stone in his pocket. Each morning he'd turn it over in his hand and whisper, "Endure." When life was easy, the stone felt light, meaningless. But when things grew hard, when his lover left him without explanation, When his heart felt heavy, he held that stone tighter. The stone didn't change anything around him. It didn't bring her back. But it reminded him that strength isn't in winning or losing someone. It's in remaining whole. That man wasn't Marcus Aurelius, but he lived by the same truth. The world doesn't owe you comfort. People don't owe you consistency. You owe yourself steadiness. Every heartbreak becomes lighter when you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Because here's the paradox: pain, when endured with wisdom, refines love. It teaches you not to cling, but to connect freely, not to chase, but to understand, not to beg for peace, but to become peace. Part 5. Embrace. Embrace what is, Marcus wrote. Welcome everything that comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs? In modern relationships, that means accepting people as they are, not as we wish them to be. It means embracing the chaos of human hearts, the awkward silences, the imperfect apologies, the slow growth. When we embrace reality, we stop fighting it, and when we stop fighting it, love has room to breathe again. Think of your last argument. The words said too quickly, the walls built too fast. What if, instead of trying to win, you had simply paused and said, "I see you, I hear your pain. Let's figure this out." That is Stoic love, strong, calm, grounded. To embrace doesn't mean to surrender your boundaries. It means to see clearly and without resentment, to accept that others act according to their own understanding, not yours. And when you stop taking every misunderstanding personally, you start freeing yourself from unnecessary suffering. Endure. When love feels heavy, when the spark fades, when distance grows, we often think something has gone wrong. But Marcus Aurelius would remind us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Endurance in the Stoic sense isn't about dull resignation. It's not sitting silently in an unhappy relationship or pretending not to hurt. It's about meeting pain with awareness, not escape. To endure means to stay present when it would be easier to numb out, to listen even when your pride wants to shout, to hold love lightly, not allowing it to grow, to change, even to end, without letting bitterness harden your heart. The garden and the storm. Imagine love as a garden. You plant the seeds with joy, excitement, laughter, long talks under moonlight. But gardens don't bloom on sunlight alone. There are storms, droughts, pests, and seasons when nothing seems to grow. Many people give up when love stops looking like spring, but the Stoic endures. Marcus would have said, "Does the emerald lose its value because it's not praised? Does the rose cease to be beautiful because someone walked past it?" When your relationship enters its winter, endurance becomes your virtue. You water the roots with patience. You give space for time to work. You accept that even in stillness, growth is happening beneath the soil, the mirror of pain. There's a reason love hurts so deeply. It's not just because we care. It's because love holds up a mirror to our most fragile parts. That moment you feel jealous and it's showing you your fear of being unworthy. That moment you crave control, it's showing you your fear of being left. That moment you withdraw, it's showing you your fear of being hurt again. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, didn't blame the world for his suffering. He turned inward and asked, "What part of this pain belongs to me?" If you take that same question into your relationships, everything changes. Instead of saying, "They made me angry," you begin to see anger rose within me. Why? Instead of saying, "They're distant," you might ask, "What am I projecting onto their silence?" This is endurance. Not the endurance of a victim, but of a philosopher warrior. You stay in the discomfort long enough to understand it. You resist the temptation to run or react. You endure so that you may transform. The story of the bridge. Let me tell you another story. Once a young woman asked a wise teacher, "How do I know when to stay in love or when to walk away?" The teacher took her to a bridge. It was old, creaking under its own weight, but still standing strong. He said, "This bridge endures because it flexes. The wind doesn't break it because it learns to bend." He paused and looked at her. Endurance in love is like this bridge. It doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you don't break at the first sign of strain. The woman looked down at the water rushing below and whispered, "So I should keep enduring?" The teacher smiled. Endures, but with wisdom. If the bridge ever stops being safe to cross, you rebuild it, or you find a new path. But until then, hold steady. Learn from the wind. That's the Stoic spirit. Endure not blindly, but consciously. Stay not out of fear, but out of strength. Patience, the forgotten power. In the modern world, patience has become a rare virtue. We expect instant communication, instant reassurance, instant validation. But Marcus lived in an age where messages took weeks to travel. He understood slowness. He understood time. He would have said to us today, don't rush to fix what requires time to mature. When you and your partner misunderstand each other, when one needs space, or one feels unseen, patience becomes your greatest expression of love. You allow time to do its quiet healing. You trust that not every silence is rejection, not every pause is the end. In enduring with patience, you give love the room to breathe, the fire and the fuel. There's a line in Meditations that captures endurance perfectly. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. What if every challenge in your love life was fuel for your inner fire? What if every disagreement, every heartbreak, every lonely night was shaping you into someone wiser, calmer, and more capable of loving without fear? The Stoics didn't seek comfort, they sought growth. They didn't ask, why me? They asked, how can I use this? So when your partner disappoints you, use it to grow patience. When they pull away, use it to practice independence. When love ends, use it to deepen your capacity for empathy. This is how endurance becomes empowerment. You stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as purification, the weight of expectations. So much of modern love suffers because of expectation. We expect our partners to be our healers, our therapists, our soulmates, our entertainment, our peace. But Marcus Aurelius would say, that's too heavy a burden for any one person. He'd remind us that peace begins within. When we expect another person to complete us, we place our happiness in fragile hands. When we cultivate our own inner calm, we bring peace into the relationship instead of demanding it from it. So endurance in love also means enduring your own illusions. To stop asking someone else to fill the emptiness only you can understand. That's when love transforms from dependency to harmony. The story of the broken cup. Epictetus, another Stoic, once said, when you kiss your child, say to yourself, they may die tomorrow. To our modern ears, that sounds cruel. But what he meant was, and cherish without clinging. Love deeply, but don't forget impermanence. Marcus echoed this. Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Think of that next time something breaks, and a promise, a dream, a relationship. It hurts, you bleed. But remember, even broken things have beauty. The Japanese call it kintsugi, the art of mending cracks with gold. Endurance is your gold. Every scar becomes a story of survival, not failure. Every heartbreak becomes proof that you have loved and lived with courage. When endurance ends, but let's be honest, sometimes endurance becomes an excuse. Sometimes what we call stoic patience is just fear in disguise. Fear of being alone, fear of change, fear of starting over. Marcus would not want you to endure cruelty. He'd remind you, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. If a relationship demands the sacrifice of your peace, your dignity, your kindness, then leaving can be the most stoic act of all. Endurance has wisdom. It knows when to stay and when to go. It knows that strength is not measured by how long you suffer, but by how deeply you stay true to your principles. So endure, but do not chain yourself to what no longer grows. Let's go. There comes a moment after embracing what is and enduring what must be, when the only thing left is movement. Let's go. This is the Stoic rallying cry, not of resignation, but of renewal. Marcus Aurelius wrote, forward, always forward. The obstacle is the way. When love ends, when chapters close, when you find yourself staring at the ruins of something you thought would last forever, say it quietly to yourself. Let's go. Let's go. Not to run away, but to rise again. Let's go. Because life keeps moving and you are meant to move with it. Let's go, because every ending is also a beginning. Let's go. The renewal. There is a moment after the storm, when the noise fades, when the pain softens, and when you realize you've survived what once seemed impossible. That moment is sacred. It's the quiet recognition that life continues. Marcus Aurelius lived most of his days on battlefields. Far from Rome, he lost children, friends, even his co-emperor. Yet every morning he wrote, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to love, to be. So let's begin here. You are alive. You have felt love. You have endured loss. Now it's time to move forward, not as a wounded version of yourself, but as someone renewed by what you've learned. Let's go, in the Stoic sense, means acceptance with momentum. You don't run from the past. You carry its wisdom lightly as you step toward what's next. The river and the rock. Picture a river flowing endlessly through a valley. On its bank stands a rock, an unmoving, solid, ancient. For centuries, the water rushes past it, shaping it, polishing it, softening its edges. Marcus Aurelius would tell you, be like the rock against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm, while the turbulent waters fall around it in stillness. That is, let's go. The world changes. People come and go. Feelings evolve. But your center, your virtue, your clarity, your sense of self remains unshaken. When your partner leaves, when a friend betrays you, when love transforms into distance, you don't crumble. You breathe, you acknowledge, and you move with grace. The river flows and you flow with it. The story of the empty chair. A man once lost the love of his life. Every morning he still set 2 cups of tea on the table. One for himself, one for the empty chair. Friends told him, you should move on. He smiled and said, I have moved on, but love taught me presence, not absence. Each day as he sipped his tea, he whispered a single line from Marcus Aurelius. Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny. For what could more aptly fit your needs? He didn't deny his grief. He walked with it. He turned loss into a ritual of remembrance and gratitude. That's the essence of Let's Go. It's not about forgetting. It's about carrying love forward without being carried away by it. The courage to begin again. To move forward means to begin again, not as who you were, but as who you've become. And beginnings can be frightening. You may fear opening your heart after it's been broken. You may wonder if you'll ever trust again, but Marcus would remind you, the universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Every time you love again, you prove that your heart is stronger than your fear. Every time you forgive, you prove that wisdom can grow from pain. And every time you show kindness when you could have closed off, you prove that stoicism is not cold detachment, but courageous compassion. So if love finds you again, in a new person, a new friendship, or even in your own reflection, don't resist it. Let's go. Step into it with both feet, but keep your balance. Love, but don't lose yourself. Care, but don't cling. That's the Stoic equilibrium. Modern reflections, the digital mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations privately, never meant for others to read. Today we post our meditations publicly, in text, captions, stories, tweets. In the age of constant connection, we've confused communication with understanding. We check our phones for signs of love, like ancient priests reading omens in the sky. But Marcus would ask, why seek outward what can only be secured inward? He would say, stop refreshing for reassurance. Your peace does not live in a notification. When love becomes performance, presence disappears. So let's go back to presence, to genuine conversation, to sitting in silence together, to writing something not for likes, but for meaning. The next time you want to post your pain, pause. Write it down privately like Marcus did. Ask yourself, what am I truly feeling? What is this teaching me? That's how you turn heartbreak into philosophy. Freedom and love. One of Marcus's deepest lessons is this: no man is free who is not master of himself. And that's true in love more than anywhere else. You cannot have a free, healthy relationship if you're a prisoner to your own insecurities. Freedom in love means you choose to be there, not because you need to, but because you want to. Imagine 2 people walking side by side, each carrying their own light. They share warmth, but neither depends on the other's flame to see. That's love with freedom. That's love the Marcus Aurelius way. To reach that, you must first master yourself. You must know your values, your boundaries, your peace. And once you do, you no longer cling out of fear. You connect out of strength. That's the secret Stoic paradox. The less you cling, the more deeply you can love. The story of the candle. A philosopher once said, if you light a candle from another, both shine brighter, but neither loses its flame. Marcus would have approved. He might have added, be careful not to extinguish your candle while trying to keep another's alive. How many times have we dimmed ourselves for love? How many times have we stayed quiet when we should have spoken truth? All in the name of keeping peace? But peace built on silence is a fragile illusion. Real peace, the Stoic kind, is built on honesty, spoken with calm, received with courage. So let's go. Speak your truth kindly but clearly. Love doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence, and presence begins with truth, healing the heart through service. When Marcus Aurelius felt sorrow, he turned his focus outward, to duty, to service, to kindness. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. When your heart aches, the mind wants to collapse inward, to replay the lost, to drown in memory. But service heals. Call a friend who needs you, volunteer, create, teach, help. In serving others, you remind yourself that life still flows through you, that love still has purpose beyond your own pain. That's the Stoic medicine, not to escape suffering, but to transmute it into something meaningful. When love returns, sometimes after all the pain, all the endurance, and all the letting go, love returns. It might be the same person, wiser now, or someone entirely new. Marcus would advise, meet them not with the ghosts of your past, but with the calm of your present.
He'd say, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts.
So if your thoughts are peaceful, patient, grateful, your love will reflect that. But if your mind is still filled with resentment, your new story will echo the old. Before you start again, sit with yourself. Write, reflect, forgive. Let go of the need to prove, to win, to justify. Then love freely but with boundaries. Give fully but without losing balance. That is, let's go in practice. Movement without desperation. Affection without attachment. Revisiting the Emperor's Journal. Imagine Marcus Aurelius today, not in armor, not on a throne, but sitting quietly with a cup of tea, scrolling through a world that moves too fast. He'd probably close his phone after a few minutes, shake his head gently, and return to his notebook. He'd write, "The heart must be trained as the mind is trained. Let not love make you forget reason, nor reason make you forget love." And that would be his message to us. Love is not the opposite of reason. It is its highest expression when guided by virtue. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about aligning emotion with purpose. In a world that equates love with possession, Stoicism reminds us love is participation. It's choosing to walk beside another human being while remaining grounded in yourself, your own meditations. So before we close, here's an invitation. Write your own meditations on love. Take 5 minutes tonight. Ask yourself 3 questions Marcus might have asked. What did I learn about myself through love? What emotions still control me? And how can I observe them calmly? What kind of person do I want to be in love? Not what kind of partner do I want, but who do I wish to become? Write honestly, without filters, without performance. That's your modern Stoic practice. The final reflection, the 3 words. Embrace, endure, let's go. They sound simple, but together they form a complete philosophy for love and for life. Embrace what is. Accept reality, accept others, accept yourself. Endure what challenges. Stay present through pain. Grow from struggle. Let's go forward with grace, with courage, with peace. These 3 words hold the entire Stoic path. Awareness, strength, and renewal. Love, like life, is a cycle, not of perfection, but of practice. Every heartbreak, every reconciliation, every one quiet morning with someone you care for becomes another chance to live these words. When you're misunderstood, embrace. When you're hurting, endure. When it's time to begin again, let's go. The closing words. So, my friend, if you've stayed with me through this reflection, take this with you. Love is not something you find. It's something you become. Become patient. Become grounded. Become the kind of person who can love without fear and walk away without hatred. Because, as Marcus Aurelius would say, it is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. And love in all its messy, painful, beautiful forms is how we truly live. So embrace what's here. Endure what's hard. And when the time comes, let's go. With that said, thanks for watching, and until the next time.